Speaking of NFL news, I went through the Chris Jones deal a little bit because it didn't make any sense to me. Didn't make any sense.
At all.
Michael Lombardi, who's obviously a friend of the program, he'll be joining us every single Friday, as will another guest joining us every single Friday. We'll announce that on Friday. He came out and said, this holdout made no sense. He loses $3 million in fines from the days that he missed, but he only has the opportunity to really gain $2 million more, and that's if they win the Super Bowl. He wins Defensive Player of the Year. There's some other incentives in there. If he plays 50% of the snaps going forward for the last 16 games, he'll get an extra like $2 million or something like that, and then an extra $1.5 million somewhere else. So he did get more money, but to hold out and lose as much as he did with the way it looked, and then obviously the Chiefs lose, you would think to yourself, this was not a good thing. Looked into it a little bit. Florio had a lot of information on this on Pro Football Talk. So the way that this came together, I think, and the way that Chris Jones got to a point where he accepted this as the outcome, as opposed to what he had been potentially stumping for a long time. Well, the way Florio laid it out is, if he gets franchise tagged next year with this amount of money, he will have $53 million guaranteed pretty much over the next 2 years. They offered him a 3-year, $70 million deal, which is, I forget how many millions of dollars less than what Aaron Donald got. Quinnen Williams is in that ballpark or whatever. So his entire gamble pretty much was $17 million, okay, or for that last year or more, or just $53 million right now. I think him owning his right to become a free agent after this season, if they don't franchise tag him, and getting $53 million over 2 years is the reason why he accepted it. But Clark Hunt, notoriously, if you look into the history, the owner of the Chiefs, not a big I'm going to pay defensive players a third-time guy. You can go through the entire list. Barry, Tyrann Mathieu, old Cuzzy.
The Tamba?
Tamba. There's like 4 or 5 different guys that, like the Kansas City Chiefs, do not invest in third contracts and guys. So Chris Jones, I think, much like what Aaron Rodgers is going through with the Packers, had seen this, has seen this trend and took a stand and was like, nope, I'm an anomaly. I'm Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I was doubled more than anybody else in the entire league last year. I want to get paid less than Aaron Donald, but I want to get paid in the top tier of these people. So I think the way Chris Jones has gotten to the point is he took a stand, he let it be heard. He has $53 million coming to him if they franchise tag him, and he's also potentially a free agent afterwards. And I assume he missed football.
Yes.
I assume
I would have sitting in the crowd watching the team lose. Yeah, I think so.
I'd assume he missed football, because when you just look at the numbers of this year's deal, and then you think about how much he was willing to give up, how loud of a distraction it was, everything that potentially negative came alongside of it, you think to yourself, well, why would he agree to that deal? That doesn't seem like what you would cause this big of a stink for. But then you start piecing it together on the flip side. It's like missed ball, getting 53, took a stand, probably for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not just himself, probably felt as if he took a stand for a lot of different players. Yeah. Now let's get back to doing what we're doing with some achievable incentives. I think it's great that they have him back, but that was a real, especially with the Jonathan Taylor situation happening, I obviously was pretty keen on why and how this deal came together. And I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor is anywhere near what Chris Jones is, okay? Let's not do that. Chris Jones is top 2 at his position, at a position that is not easy to find. So we're not talking
high-paid position.
Yes, and Jonathan Taylor, 2 years ago, incredible.
So good.
Last year, not good. Missed games, was hurt, didn't go fantastic. We had number 4 overall pick. Then after the season, he says, yeah, I'm playing through my contract. He is loved by everybody. Into March, I think, or April. He says, yep, I'm playing my contract. So then all money's gone, all moves gone. Then whenever all teams are already situated and salary cap's already figured out, then he takes his stand. It's like, yo, you're coming off your worst year. The team stinks. And whenever we had money to potentially do this in the proper time, you said you didn't want it. You said you wanted to play through the entire contract. So that business decision, I just think has been a bad one.
Yeah.
I hope Jonathan Taylor makes all the money in the world. The Colts need him, clearly, but we're not winning the Super Bowl this year. So it's like, okay, if this thing ends up going another way it goes. Chris Jones, though, seemingly conceded a little bit on his ask, but still feels as if he got the job done. Are you happy for Chris, and what do you think this does for the Kansas City Chiefs, Steve?
Yeah, I'm happy he's back in the building. The CBA, it makes it tough for holdouts. You just lose so much money and it's leverage. And obviously, like you said, situations are situational. So Jonathan Taylor in a different situation than a Nick Bosa or a Chris Jones. would have loved to see him get, the more money, the multi-years guaranteed and all that stuff, because he is an anomaly at that position, at a very important position, especially when it comes to putting pressure on the passer. It's the passer, and then it's the guys who can put pressure on that passer. So I appreciate him taking that stand. But all those things you mentioned, and not even to mention, at this stage of your career, you missed the training camp.
Sure.
You're going to assume as a pro he's been taking care of himself.
Yeah.
He's in great shape. So now you got 16 games to go out there and hit these incentives. A lot of them are likely to be earned, and the other ones, with the Chiefs, everything's kind of likely to be earned. You can win a Super Bowl any year with that team and that quarterback. So glad to see them work something out, him being back on the field, and just hope for a great, healthy year, and he gets his money next year.
He's on a contract year again.
Yeah.
So congrats to the Chiefs. They get, and contract years are real.
Yeah.
Guys are motivated. They have those dog races.
Yeah, the Iditarod. Sure.
No. The Greyhounds.
Oh, okay. Well,
The dog race, buddy. Iditarod also a good race.
yeah,
That is a good dog race.
We don't love that one.
That one's tough. I think there's a lot of horse racing outcomes.
sure.
And I think there's a chance. Yeah, it's real cool.
Jeez.
But those Greyhounds, they put a rabbit in front.
Yep.
And then that thing goes.
Chase.
And then these dogs are just chasing the rabbit, and they talk about dangling a carrot in front of somebody's face or whatever. It's like a contract is that. That is what it is. Like, hey, everything you've worked for your entire life is available for you if you just go get it. So normally in contract years, it's not just on the field of practice. It's normally all the other stuff that it gets tightened up, your nutrition, your schedule, your discipline, all of it creates the best version of yourself that you can create, because that's what you're hoping for. Chris Jones already has made like $70 million, so he's already rich. But this next bag is going to be a big one. I assume that's still going to motivate the hell out of him to show up.
That's what I was about to say. We've all been in the locker room. We've seen guys who play a great contract year, get paid, and then they're kind of a different dude. We've seen Chris Jones get paid already and still be that guy and only get better. So he's a guy that you should be afraid of investing that type of money in. So excited for him in this contract year and beyond for sure.
He can handle the money.
Absolutely.
He can handle the discipline that has to come whenever you get a lot of money. I was great with it. After my first year, I go back to my second year, I got about $2,500 in that bank account.
Well,
Seen 4 different continents.
good summer.
Great.
Yeah.
Not just good. It was
Worth it.
Buddy. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Hey, but you need to conserve your money. Okay, have you ever been in a position where, you want to go to Africa? Yeah, I do.
I'm going. Yeah.
So I'm going to go.
See ya.
Hey, you want to come down to Miami tomorrow? There's a massive party. Oh, who's going to be there? Start naming off every human you've ever been a fan of. Yeah,
Sure.
I think I do. Here's where we're staying. How much is the rooms? $3,500. It's a lot of money, but
Sounds good.
am I not going to
Yeah,
stay there?
gotta go.
Here
we go.
Give me a sweet.
Gotta stay there. And then it's like, well, what if you don't make the team next year? You weren't really that good. It's like, well, I had a great run.
Yeah.
I had a great run with the whole thing. But whenever you're talking about Chris Jones, why is he such a nightmare? He's just faster, stronger, and smarter than everybody. And why do you centers hate a guy like Chris Jones? And how many Chris Jones are out there, AQ?
There's very few, and I'm glad that he doesn't line up over the center very often, because, man, you don't see that combination of size and speed very often. When you get 6'6", 325 pounds that can move.
Could you imagine what he would do to you right now?
Oh, man.
At your, 5'11", 215-pound frame?
You don't know
Very
how
short
many
arms.
times I said, when I got out at the right time. I just keep watching these guys get more athletic, more freakish. And
Miles
just
Garrett was
bigger,
crossing
stronger,
up the
faster.
center.
Bingo.
He was doing this before.
What are you supposed to do there?
You tell us.
You ever see that?
You tell us.
You tell us.
You're the expert.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you just sit back and hope for the best.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.